Today here on All In with Bryan Weatherford, we are all into financial and insurance services. To be more specific, the name of the company we're talking with today is Total Financial and Insurance Services. It's a second generation company. We love those companies to where it was going along so well that the child, in this case, decided I'm going to jump in and keep the dream alive, keep my family's name out there in this important industry. The guest herself, her name is Diana Greenberg, and she's with us here on All In with Bryan Weatherford. Diana, welcome to the show today. How are you?
I'm great, Bryan. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. So as I mentioned, you are now the principal of a second generation family business. How is that for you? Did you know little Diana back in the day? Did you always have an interest, or did it kind of skew later in life, or how did you get involved?
Well, that's a great place to start. I think I was actually born into the business. I didn't really have any choice. My parents actually started the business in 1971, and it was pretty much a dinner conversation from the time I was old enough to have a conversation. And I pretty much knew I was going to end up in the business, did some part-time work during my school days when I needed a job. And by 19, I was all the way in and knew that that's the direction I was going to be. And eventually I would take it over and continue my father's legend or legacy.
Or legacy, or both. Maybe to make his legacy legendary. How about that? So when was that? What's the timeline on that? The company started in 1971. When did you take the wheel and start steering it as your own?
I started steering it on my own 7 years ago.
7 years ago, okay.
I've been actually with the company since 1985.
Gotcha. Well, the company itself, as I mentioned, it's Total Financial Insurance, Total Financial and Insurance Services. So there's a lot of different products that falls into those realms. So in particular, what products do you focus on?
We are actually the word Total Financial and Insurance Services, primarily a independent life brokerage who handles life insurance, and we also handle long-term care and annuities. So that goes into the financial planning part of it. We also do disability. So we like to cover all the realms of insurance as well as some of the investment portfolios with the annuities and IRAs.
Well, I must say there's not a lot more regulated industry out there than the one that you're in, and I don't know how you keep up with everything that you do. Is it safe to say that things have changed somewhat since 1971?
Oh my God, you have no idea. When I first started in the business, first of all, I only dealt with one or two carriers, and now I represent over 30. So if you want to try and keep track of every rule and regulation for 30 companies, you can imagine that's a lot of information to keep track of. The insurance business in itself has evolved and changed, and it's constantly changing, and especially right now, it's changing a lot. But in the 1970s, there were a limited amount of products that you could sell, and now I would say there's a plethora of products that you can sell to your clients and different ways to sell them. So it has made huge changes.
Well, I personally, on a personal note, I like working with people like you who represent a variety of companies, because I'm a firm believer in there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all when it comes to something as important as what you do. So when you're first meeting with someone the first time, do you listen the whole time you're listening to their needs and their dreams and their aspirations? Are you kind of going through your head the products that you have and paring it down to just a few for them instead of just unloading all of them on? It seems like that would slow the process somewhat.
That's a great question. I'm in a unique situation in that I'm an agency, which means I represent agents who are out there selling to clients. And so most of the questions that are done as far as personal questions and needs for insurance are made from the agents to the clients. And then the agents come to me and say, I have a guy. I'm that person that says, great, tell me more about the guy's health condition. Tell me what his needs are. And then I'll direct you to what company you should put it with. There are many times that agents will come to us or my agency with an idea in mind that they're going to sell a certain product to their client. And after 10 minutes of conversation, I could totally change that around because I've asked 4 different questions. But to answer one very important question that you just put in front of me, it's really important that you do some discovery with your clients. Putting too much information in front of them can confuse them. This shouldn't be a confusing sale. If you just talk to your clients and you ask them about their needs and what their financial situation is now and what they hope it to be in 15, 20 years down the line, you can pretty much get an idea of what the need and type of insurance they should have. And then I get to decide which company I think can handle it based on their medical issues and conditions.
Well, and then, of course, Diana, as well, the needs of the customer may change throughout the years. I mean, when we're younger, we can go one direction. As we get older, we're going another direction. When we're younger, maybe we're planning for college for the kids and that type of thing. And as we get older, we're looking at handing things off to the kids. So working with someone like yourself that has so much experience, again, second generation experience, to get out there to work on behalf of everyone, it's not just a one-time sale. You're with them all along, all through the journey in life to make sure that you're tweaking everything to take care of their needs. That is a great thing. We touched on it just a little bit, but I'm curious, like I asked all the guests these days, talk to me about COVID. How has that impacted what you're doing and how you do it?
Wow, COVID. That's a really strong word in our industry right now. I have to tell you that every single day there is a change or an update that is being made in the insurance industry or financial industry, period. End of subject. The COVID situation has become a problem for the insurance carriers because obviously more people are getting sick, which changes their mortality issues. But the good news is because people are very concerned about getting COVID, they are trying to care for their families and protect their families, so they need the insurance to protect their families. But the insurance companies have had to be regulated by the insurance department, and they've basically put a lot of restrictions on people who may have predisposed conditions who might be subject to getting COVID. So they're not getting insurance as easily as they might have before. But more importantly, I think the whole industry, insurance in itself, I would say was a little bit behind the times in technology. They have now been forced to catch up to the rest of the world digitally, just like we're doing right now with this call. This was not even heard of with insurance 10 years ago. Calls were not made this way, meetings were not made this way, and for sure, insurance was not sold this way. But this is now how it's all being done. And so it's been really important to educate agents how to communicate with their clients digitally, how to have this type of conversation with them virtually. And now everything is being submitted electronically because nobody can handle any paperwork. So it's caused a lot of disruption, but at the same time, I always feel that disruption can have really positive effects. And I think it's been a good thing for the industry.
I think it's been a great thing for a lot of industries, and you're exactly right. Mine is included in that as well. Diana, I have about a minute left. I want to touch on something real quick. You are in an industry, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I was looking in the notes. You're in a male-dominated industry. So why is it you think that there aren't more females in your industry, and why do we need them? Again, I have about 1 minute.
Well, I think in general, males have been primarily responsible for financials, even when it comes to family financials. I think in recent years, in the last 10 years, 15, 20, more women have taken control over their financials, and they just weren't really interested and thought they could get a leg up in this field. There are more and more females that are getting into this, but I think more females are feeling more comfortable talking to other females about their financial situation. So I'm one of these people that supports a lot of females in the business and helps to get other females involved in selling and talking to females in households who are handling the business finances.
So along with everything else you got going on, you've become a mentor for other women looking to get into an industry that has been so good to you and your family since 1971 in one way or another. I applaud you for that. That's just about it today. You've got a lot of stuff on your plate. COVID certainly adds more daily. I guess every day you got to check and see what's going on with regards to that. But we know you do it very well because you've been doing it for some time. That's Diana Greenberg, everybody. Thank you for being our guest today on All In. We appreciate it. You take care, and everyone else, sit back. We'll be right back with a little bit more All In.